Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica. I am the president of We Are Artists, and We Are Artists is an organization that strives to help artists be successful through collaboration and education. Tonight, we are talking to Keef Cross. He's an amazing artist who's come out with his own comic. Is that the wrong term for it? Can I call it a comic?
Yeah, you can call it a comic. More specifically, a graphic novel.
His own graphic novel that's dope, but I'm gonna let him tell you all about his whole life story. So, oh, and we have somebody else coming in just a little bit, so we'll talk about him in just a minute. So I'm excited to share all of this with you guys. And if you are watching in the comments, please tell me where you're watching from. Let me know. Are you an artist? Do you just like art? Are you a art supporter? Let me know. Why are you here? Okay. So let's get started. Keith, can you give me a little something about yourself? Can you tell me your background?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Keef Cross. I am a retired tattoo artist of about 22 years, based out of Atlanta. Currently, I am a graphic novelist, and I have a comic series called DayBlack. Excuse me, which is about a slave who was bitten by a vampire in the cotton fields. Fast forward to present day, he works as a tattoo artist as a way to collect blood. And I've been doing this comic book since about 2014. Um, Currently, I'm on my seventh issue, which I just had a Kickstarter for that was successfully funded a few days ago to keep the series going. So, but even outside of that, I'm also a fine artist, um, pretty active in the Atlanta art scene, and but kind of put all that on the back burner right now just to focus on the comic book. So that's my primary focus right now. I also have another graphic novel that I'm working on under the Smize and Dream umbrella, which is owned by Tyra Banks. She's writing the graphic novel, and I'll be illustrating it. We'll be in Los Angeles Comic Con in December, so you'll be able to see me there, kind of promoting it. So yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. That's so cool. Okay, that's really cool. Yeah, I wanna know more about that. That's
Oh
dope.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I got she actually is a fan of the book. She during COVID, she was we were actually working on an amusement park idea. Well, first of all, she reached out to me after seeing my comic book on Google. She was just Google black comic book artists or black comics, and DayBlack popped up. So it was just completely out of chance. And she reached out, and we began working on her during COVID. This was before COVID. She had a amusement park idea called Model Land, and she hired me to kind of design the theme park, design merch, and just all kind of little promotional things for it. Then COVID hit, and it just completely went away. So it kind of sucked because I couldn't even really tell anybody about it because as we had been working on it, I didn't want to say anything because we were still kind of working on it. I didn't want to really announce it until it was time to be announced. So nobody ever found out about it, which I was like, damn, I couldn't even brag on that. So then earlier this year, I hadn't heard from her since then, since 2020, after it kind of everything dissolved. And then this year, she hit me out of the blue and was like, hey, I'm starting this ice cream company called Smize and Dream, which is her own ice cream brand. It's kind of pretty much international, but she's trying to bring it to the States. Mm-hmm. And she also wanted to build this comic book graphic novel universe based on that IP. So she hired me to help pretty much illustrate the book, work on the story with her and such. And right now we've been working on it for about 6 months and still very early in the development stages. But hey, I'm just happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? It's Tyra Banks.
That's super dope. That's awesome. So congratulations on that. And I'm glad that you're getting a chance to talk about it now.
Yeah. I can say stuff now because we're really about to come out with it. So
that's dope, man. Okay, let's dig in. Can you share a defining moment or experience that solidified your decision to pursue a career in art?
Yeah, probably being not a great student in high school. And once I realized that I could, well, first of all, once I realized I didn't have to take college prep classes to go to art school, that kind of put me down a path too. I was like, okay, because I thought I was just gonna not. At some point, I didn't think I was going to be able to graduate. I barely graduated. I did a lot of extra credit and a lot of art projects for my teachers and just a lot of like anything they wanted. You want me to do a portrait of you? So I kind of got out of there just based off of my talent, and a lot of my teachers believed in me, even though they knew I wasn't a great student. So they always offered me opportunities to kind of redeem myself. But the defining moment for me was when I actually went to art school and I actually saw everything that was possible, you know, as far as like everything from interior design to industrial design. It's just so much graphic design. This was like in '96, so it wasn't really any internet. The internet was kind of there, but kind of like, well, what is this? I don't know. Like, it wasn't definitely what it is now. But so yeah, just basically seeing what was available. Um, but even then, it wasn't a sure thing. It's like all artists, I think we go to art school, we come out, but you know, going to college doesn't guarantee anything, especially when you're a visual artist. So as soon as I did get out of college, I started tattooing, and that was when I really started making money. To the fact where I never even tried to get a job in what I went to school for. I just immediately started making so much money doing tattoos that I just kind of settled into that. So that was definitely, I guess, making that money was what put me on the path. Like, oh, I could make money doing this. So, and even though it wasn't what I planned, I was still technically supporting myself making art. So that was it for me. That was a win.
That's definitely making money doing art and doing what you love. You find a way to do it. So that's
Yeah,
what we're here. That's what we're here
absolutely,
to learn.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I've seen your work and I just think it's so dope. But how did you come up with your unique style? Let me see if I can find some of your stuff and actually let's see if I can share my screen. But yeah, go ahead and start and
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to share your work on
yeah.
the
It's
screen.
really hard. It's a hard thing to really articulate. You know, I would just say years and years of just doing it and refining and learning and getting better, and and just really doing it out of love and just doing it out of having really no choice to do it. It's really as natural as eating or breathing. So you know, um, and then of course my influences. You know, my most of my influences being film, filmmakers, not necessarily even art sometimes. So definitely all of my work is rooted in the Black experience, just because you know I grew up during the time where you know it wasn't what it is today. You know, like you couldn't find Lovecraft Country or Atlanta on the air. You know what I'm saying? But when shows like that came out, it really solidified that something like DayBlack could really have a place on the screen. You know. Oh, and I forgot to add that DayBlack also it has been optioned by CBS for animated series, but that happened a few years ago too. But still development. But yeah,
That's fantastic. Wow, congratulations on that.
thank you, thank you.
Wait, did you say it's still in development? Do we
It's
have
still in
like a
development. Yeah, it was optioned in 2019, and
okay.
you know from that point on, it's kind of just like you just hurry up and wait because it's such a long process of just finding showrunners, finding writers, doing pitch meetings, doing pitches to networks,
Hmm.
refining the pitch, adjusting your story because sometimes networks, like for instance, we had to punch up the humor a lot because come to find out it's easier to sell a comedy to a network than it is a drama. So even though DayBlack has elements of both, we had to kind of punch up the comedy to kind of make it more appealing for networks. So I just learned a couple of little things about the politics of show business. And sometimes when networks might not want your pitch, it's not because they don't like it. It's just because they have a certain criteria or a certain demographic that they're trying to meet on their network. So I just learned to not really take it personal, and just to be flexible and just to be happy that there's so many people working on your idea. You know what I'm saying? So, and the fact that I'm involved in the process, which is also, I know, a privilege that all creators don't get. So, but then again, it's something that's still very much in the background for me right now because it's such a waiting game. So it's nice to be able to work with Tyra to still kind of keep busy and to still have more, I don't know what the term is, more coals in the fire, more wood in the chimney. I don't know, but something like that.
Awesome. I can't wait till it comes out. That's gonna be dope. So how would you describe a typical day in your life as a full-time artist?
Oh man, as a full-time artist, well, I'm blessed to work from home. So my day usually starts with since everything I'm doing right now is primarily for the Smize and Dream project, my mornings are pretty much a Zoom call with the team. And we pretty much go over everything that needs to be done or such and such, the writing and the character design. And and from that point on, there's never really any hard deadlines. It's pretty much, all right, we need this done. You could, there's no punching the clock. It's really the perfect lifestyle for an artist. This is what you want to do as an artist, And so yeah, but just in general, wake up, get my kids ready, get them out the door. Thank God they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Then I get to start my day. I love my babies, don't get me wrong, but when they're gone, it's like, yes. So get them out the door, come downstairs, come to the studio, and just sit at my computer, have my Zoom call, get my marching orders, and then I'm just drawing. And I try to fit in different commissions. I may have, sometimes I take little side commissions if I think it's something that's not going to be too time consuming, and kind of squeeze those in. It's really just about time management and also creative management, because sometimes sometimes I feel really creative and like really creatively fertile, that I just want to create, but I have to, like, all right, when I feel like this, I need to use this time to work on this project that's paying me, rather than this project that is more like just something that I feel like I'm compelled to do. So it's really a balancing act, because I don't want to keep talking. I can ramble. I'll ramble, man. You gotta stop me. That's probably something else, what I was about to say. You still there? Hello? But yes.
I let you know that
Okay.
we have the illustrious D. Jerome Smedley joining the stage. Hi, Rome.
Hey.
What's going on, y'all? We are rising. We are revolutionary. We are resilient. We are artists. And it is a pleasure to be back in a place where I feel welcome. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Keef, man.
Hey.
Long-time fan, man. I love your work.
Okay. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No, appreciate you for all that you do. And I apologize for my tardiness. That's what happens when you're early for the first time. You're late for the second time. I was on the road, leaving my studio like, I'm just going to go home, get something to eat. I've been distracted all day. It's been a day. And then thankfully, somebody decided to message me to make sure I was still coming. And
literally the same thing happened to me last week. So I feel you.
It's all good. I am grateful to be here. What's going on, Madam President?
Man, I'm just chilling like a villain on penicillin. That's how I'm living, pimping in the village. So, Rome is a fantastic, amazing, just killing it in the game photographer. He always been like that all my life. So, like, he one of my inspirations. He's fantastic. He took Birmingham by a storm. So I'm gonna let you talk a little bit more about your work and what you do, Ron, please. Thank you.
I'm going to do my best. And folks tell me stuff that I didn't even realize I did. But anyway, what's going on? What's going on to the amazing people of War and to everyone that's tuned in to join us? My name is Jerome Smedley. I am a professional photographer, a veteran for 25 years in the beautiful city of Birmingham, Alabama. And I am grateful every single day to get to do what I have loved to do since I've been in high school. And I have been doing it. As I've always said, photography is my voice, and I've been screaming with it ever since. I have several brands, but my main brands are Jerome Smedley Photography. If you've seen it around, it focuses on family portraits and personal branding. And then you may have seen me at somebody's event, looking extra in the back or in the front, snapping a quick picture and running away. That's Smedley Media, and Smedley Media focuses on weddings and special events and corporate events. Whatever moments are special to you are special to us, and we take care of that. And I don't know what else to say about it other than I am blessed to be. I've been married now almost 10 years. I am blessed to have a partner who understands that being a photographer, I'm usually on call here, there, and everywhere, and it's been a beautiful, beautiful ride, and I've gotten to share part of that ride with our amazing president here, and a lot of amazing people that I've met along the way, and I'm just grateful for it every day.
Thank you so much, Rome. I appreciate you. We're gonna jump right back into this. Okay.
Let me get comfortable. All right.
Yeah, you better get comfortable because it's coming. All right. So let's talk about networking. How important would you guys say networking is in order for you to be, successful as an artist, a visual artist?
For me, I think it's.
Were you trying to come to me first, or I think he was asking the question? Well, mine's right here. Yeah, let's do a kick.
So me? Oh, y'all there?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought that Rome was speaking, but it was actually Keef speaking. So Keef, I'm gonna let you go first, and then Rome, I would like you to come in. Okay.
Okay. All right. Cool. Here I go. All right. Yeah. So I would say networking is super important because nowadays, or not even nowadays, but I would think people really like to know the person behind the art. Like, people love your artwork, but if they can meet you at a show or if they can meet you at an event and just the interaction that they get with you can really make or break if you sell a piece or not. But I know people love to know your story. People love to know your background. People love to know your inspiration. So I think having pieces like on a wall is one thing, but when people really get to interact with you and see your inspirations and hear everything about you, it kind of drives it home a little bit more, and can even be that thing that really can really get you a collector. As far as on the comic book side, like whenever I do conventions, it's super expensive and super time consuming to do, but to just be there, to just interact with your fans is also another great thing. But at the same time, you also get to meet publishers. You also get to meet other creatives, other artists, other writers, other people that you normally may not have access to, because you meet people online, but it's nothing like that one-on-one interaction. So, and that's the main reason I do conventions. I do pretty well selling my books online on my website, but when I go to the conventions, I always sell so much more because I think it's just that one-on-one interaction with the people.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, Ron, your turn now.
How important is it? Oh, it's beyond crucial. First of all, the one thing I'm grateful for is that at least among the photographers in Birmingham, that we're a real tight-knit community. that is not a competition, it's a collaboration. So getting to know all the different creatives around the city, around the state, allows us to not only help each other, you know, when times are necessary, but also we throw jobs each other way. If I'm not available, I'll throw a job at somebody else. If somebody else is not available, they'll throw a job at me. So it's very crucial to not only just network to get to pick up valuable clients, but also to network to get to know others in your own community. So I'm very grateful for all my photography community because they've been coming through in a pinch for me, and I'm grateful whenever I can come through for them. Another thing, and I love what he touched on, because it's one thing to see you, it's one thing to see you online, or one thing to see your work, is another thing to get to meet you in person and feel the energy coming off of you. And there's been plenty of times a lot of people have booked me for my work, not just off of my work itself, but off the energy and my personality, and just getting to see me in person. Social media and everything is very crucial, but actual networking, putting in the groundwork, putting in the footwork is very, very crucial. The one thing I can just honestly tell you is, as far as tips go, is just put yourself out there. Do not be afraid to go to any different networking events, any different, especially creative networking events, because I promise you, you put yourself out there, it's going to pay off.
Right.
A lot of artists are like in their shells. You know what I'm saying? We want to be like, oh, we're introverted, and you know
that part
too. But you know, at the same time, you got to know how to turn that off. You know, you got to know how to play that role. And then when you go home, you know, you go back and be a little introvert. But when you out, you know what I'm saying, you have to. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get out of this art life. You know what I'm saying? If you're really trying to get clientele, if you're really trying to get some collectors, you got to put yourself out there. You know, it sucks. It doesn't suck, but it can be daunting at first. But it's essential, man. If you really want to be a successful artist, your communication skills, your people skills, you got to work on those as much as your craft. You know.
Absolutely. I have a whole new other personality when I go outside and I need to network with people. Like,
absolutely.
What is Beyonce's alter ego? I don't know what her alter ego is, but I have to have my alter ego when I go out and networking so that I can do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you hear me, it's Sasha Fierce. I think that's the one you're talking about.
Oh yeah, Sasha Fierce.
And like that. No, I think we have all, as artists, have coined the phrase functioning introvert. Mm-hmm. Like, we literally know when to flip the switch on and when our people meter have reached a certain point. Like,
yeah. That, I mean, we can go into this because I'm just thinking about Andre 3000 and like how we don't get to get music because he's got social anxiety, and I understand because also I do too. But come on, man.
He's got social anxiety plus a whole lot of money. So he's like, you know what, I'm good, you know.
Right. He doesn't have to, you know.
Don't have to, you know?
Oh, by the way, I got a question for you. Did you spend any time at Kingdom Comics? I'm guessing this is for Keith.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
At Kingdom Comics? I've never heard of that. We here?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Radu and Fred Freeze are in the comments talking about Kingdom Comics.
I think they're talking about the comic store Kingdom Comics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is that in Atlanta?
No, it's in Vestavia.
No, it's local
Keith,
here. But
okay.
I think it's local. I think they're talking about a store that's local here because I've heard of Kingdom Comics.
Okay.
Yeah. Keith is in Atlanta, so that's why he's never heard of it. Okay. Cool. All right. So here's our next question. How do you approach pricing your artwork, and how has your pricing strategy evolved over time?
Oh Lord.
So me, okay. Man, I would say originally that was very tough. That was very tough because I don't know. It's like you want people, and of course we always go through the I'll do it and I'll give you exposure. You know, I'm not gonna pay you this much, but I got this showcase. I'm gonna advertise you, and I'm gonna do all this and this and that. I used to fall for that, you know. But then as you know, as a young artist, everybody goes through that, and then eventually you're like, all right, I need you to pay me. So for me, and you know, there's a million different ways artists kind of calculate how much they charge. For me, I just really look at the piece. I look at how much time I spent on it. I look at how much I spent on materials to buy, to materials to create it. I look at the emotional aspect. Am I attached to it? Because some things I paint or I create, it's because I'm trying to convey something, a message, or a feeling I may have. Other things I just may feel like drawing something that looks dope. Like I just came up with this cool image. It may not mean anything, but visually it's just striking. But even with that, anytime I do something like that, in the end, even though it doesn't have a meaning initially, whenever I'm done with something, I can always find meaning in it. That is something that just kind of comes out subconsciously, I think. So, but that's something else. But I would say always factor in those things: time, effort, financial costs, emotional attachment. And another gauge for me, how I do it currently, is I just think of what do I need to pay this month? Like what bill is lingering over my head this month, and how can I pay this bill and still maybe get a little something extra for me or my family. So I mean, it's just little things like that. It could be anything. So it could be as technical as, okay, what needs to get taken care of this month, or it could be, man, this piece really means so much to me. You gotta pay a little extra for this because I don't really want to even let this go. So it's just a myriad of things that could come up with a price. But I do have baseline prices. Like when I do logos, there's a flat rate. When I do portraits or illustrations, I have a flat rate. But sometimes people just come and they want me to create something. They're just like, yeah, just do what you want to do. I just want to do it. I just want an original cross piece. Like anything like that, you know, it just really depends. So yeah, that's a kind of an open-ended question for me because it really just varies from project to project.
Okay, got it. Ron, it's your turn.
I'm sorry. He said bills. That did it for me. I already know that feeling right there. And Jessica's gonna put me on the spot by myself. Okay, let's go. All right, so here I go. Let me explain this to you. Let me free some of you real quick. I have always had a hard time charging what I'm worth. Now, everything goes into it. Your time, your equipment, everything, your expertise. A lot of people say, you only took pictures for 20 minutes. Yeah, but it took me 20 years to learn how to do it in 20 minutes. Especially you talking about doing it well. Because you don't want to see my old pictures. Look, I've always struggled when it came to pricing. And thankfully, I went through a whole cohort, a mastermind class with Tamaya Colvin. And I really revamped my pricing because there were a lot of costs and a lot of things that I was not factoring in when it came to my prices. Like I would literally, back in the day, we charged $100 working for the whole day and thinking I actually made something. Whereas now, depending on what I'm doing, I'm usually around $300 an hour and up. So, and that's just for basic things. It just depends on what kind of shoot and what kind of level I'm doing. Everyone has different reasons. Everyone has different costs. Everyone has different overhead. But at the end of the day, you got to charge what you're worth, because just starting off lowballing yourself will leave you stuck there, because there'll be so many people that just be like, but you just charge this, so and so and so and so, not realizing that you've evolved, your talent has evolved, your bills have evolved, so that price has to evolve. So you cannot be afraid to let your price evolve with you and with your talent. Because at the end of the day, the most precious thing you have besides your talent is your time. Time away from your family, time away from your peace, time away from just doing anything else that you need to do. So charge literally what you're worth, and please add tax. I will answer the question. I don't know at this point. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? I'm waiting on Jessica to come back. Everybody good?
I'm sorry, I'm on my computer and I'm on my phone, so you guys see me on my phone, but I'm controlling everything on the computer, and my internet connection is a little spotty today, so I apologize for that.
You good, friend?
Okay, but yes, thank you for that. Yeah, I remember when you used to charge low. I remember you threw me a
I just want to turn around. I ain't want to look at the camera no more. Let me tell you.
I remember you threw me a shoot a long time ago. And when I sent them that invoice, they never asked me how much it was. I sent them that invoice and they were looking at me like I was psycho. I was like, look.
We didn't know then, but we know now.
Right.
We know now.
Mm-hmm. You live and you learn and you grow. That's what's important. Okay. All right. So, have you ever had to adapt to changes in the art market or artistic trends? How do you stay relevant? Do you ever feel like you have to change your kind of artistic style, or do you stick to your guns, or do you call it evolution?
Man, no, I have never really felt that pressure. Because one of the main things, I mean, personally, I feel like one of the most valuable things an artist can have is their own unique style. And once I realized that I had that, then I was like, oh, okay, I really don't care what everybody else is doing because nobody is doing it like me. So that's good enough for me. I also live by I don't live by it, but I really believe that there's always going to be somebody better than you. So trying to strive to be the best, I think is good in theory, but I think to stress out about it is really kind of pointless. I don't feel like I'm the best, but I feel like when I'm at my best, can't nobody mess with me. You know what I'm saying? That's my attitude. So I think if you go into it like that and just really trust trust what you bring to the table, which is different, you really can't lose. I think it's good to be up on art trends. I think it's good to be knowledgeable, just like with AI. There's a huge, and when AI first hit, I was staunchly against it. I was like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. And I still feel that way, but at the same time, I've learned to use it as a conceptual tool. Because a lot of times visual artists will use, we'll go to Pinterest if we need reference for a movement or we need a reference for anything we may need to draw. But what I've learned using AI is you could really just type in okay, I need this. I need a scene of this, and they'll give it to you. But this is where it gets to your ethics as an artist. Are you going to use that image that AI spits out at you and just slap your name on it? Or are you going to take it, what I do is I take it and I actually use it as concept art, as something that gets my creative juices flowing, and I could build off of that and put my own stamp on it. But what a lot of people are doing today are they're just taking what the computer gives them, putting their name on it, and they're getting all these, accolades or whatever. And I understand, everybody wants to be an artist, you know what I'm saying? For a little bit of time, AI making people feel like they're artists, they get that little slice of, feeling that, that real artists have. So I get it, but when visual artists do it, I have an issue with it. I mean, I think we're kind of veering off into another subject, but definitely know the trends, recognize the trends, separate yourself from those trends, but still be contemporary enough to compete with those trends and stand out from them.
Awesome. Thank you Thank you for that. Ironically, where you're talking about AI, one of the people who was supposed to come today, and hopefully he can still make it, is Dez Wilson. And Dez created he I mean, he's really talented. Also a photographer, also a videographer, um, creative director now, I think, for Brooklyn. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, I know
Brooklyn,
exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
some Brooklyn something. I'm not sure, but Afropunk maybe? Not sure.
I
So
think so. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And one of the things that he did was he took he took basically like characters like what is it?
He
Wendy,
did his own renditions of the Addams Family.
Addams Family, like yeah.
He's done several looks now, and he's involved with it. And matter of fact, a lot of the AI work that he did was featured in the Afropunk. Is it Afropunk or I can't remember, but it was featured in a lot of the advertisement for the festival.
You talking about the Black Addams Family that was everywhere for a minute?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Dad was the one who created it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they went crazy with that. He went crazy with that.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. So, let's see. I'm gonna freak this from my phone since my computer doesn't want to act right. So our next question is, what role does social media play in your career as an artist? How do you leverage it effectively?
Man, my career is social media is a pivotal aspect of it, because it's allowed me to being an introverted person, it allows me to be as social as I want to be, to interact and not even that, but to just gain fans from across the world, not just in America. To share information, of course, that's what the internet is. I guess it's when it's at its best, is us sharing information, learning from each other. Getting your products, you really don't even have to have a brick and mortar store. Having a website has sustained me for so long. Like, I can't say enough about social media. I got my book published through social media. I was approached by a publisher to publish my book through social media. I got my current situation with Tyra from social media. Everything. It pretty much, and before that, I was just strictly doing tattoos. And I think around, I want to say around 2000, early 2000s, when the internet kind of really started popping off, was kind of when I started leaning away from tattooing, because the social media and just that whole exposure started to pull at me to get another outlet out there, and just specifically with my comic book. Social media has been definitely a pivotal role, but at the same time, I also appreciate the time as an artist where we didn't have social media, where I got my validation from getting critiqued by my art teachers and not necessarily drawing and creating stuff just to get validation from people online, whether or not they deserve, or whether or not they decide to click the like button. It's not going to make or break my day. Like my daughter, for instance, she's 22 and she's also an artist. But if she does some art and she puts it online and it doesn't get a lot of likes, she is devastated. Like, she's called me crying before, really doubting if she should even continue to be an artist just because somebody didn't choose to like her picture that day. And, I can't blame her, because she was born into this whole type of social media world. And whereas me, I was a good 25 years old when it really kicked off. So I remember a time where I didn't need that to feel the self-worth as an artist. So, man, if I could tell anybody anything, don't let that be a gauge for how dope you think you are. And I admit I got caught up in it myself, because I would work on artwork and I would be working on stuff like, I'd be like, yeah, they're going to love this. Like, I'll be up drawing all night. They're going to love this when I post it tomorrow. And I post it tomorrow and it's like dropping a brick in the ocean, man. It's like I might not get maybe maybe 20 likes, you know? And it really started to mess with me in my brain. I was like, hold up, you know what I'm saying? So what I really had to do was, as an artist, I had to stop making art for the internet. And I had to start just making art for me. I had to really ask myself, why do I create art? So then, and what I still do today is I'll create and I stockpile it. I create and I don't put anything online. But if I may feel like sharing one day, I just might let one go. But it's never pressure put on myself to get or to garner a certain response from anybody, because that really messes you up as an artist. Like, we sensitive, and if somebody don't like our stuff, we feel it. We may not act like we don't feel it, but we feel it. Like, putting our artwork is the equivalent of like asking somebody, hey, tell me I'm pretty. You know, tell me you like me. You know what I'm saying? This is our self-esteem can be tied to this art. So it's a big deal, but at the same time, don't let it dictate your self-worth as an artist, I would say.
True.
Why are you in my head, Keef? Get out my head. Get out my head right now. Okay, I guess you put me on the spot. Okay, here we go. Do you want to know how social media plays as an artist for me? I don't use it now to really show my work off, because honestly, social media now is not geared towards work. Right now, attention spans will drop somewhere between 6 to 8 seconds. So they can click on it. It's like, oh, nice picture, and go about their business. It is what it is. And they like it, they like it. They don't, they don't. But social media doesn't give me a chance to really show my work. So social media these days is for me to show my personality, to show the person behind the lens, and show what goes into my normal process. Now, lately, I've been using it to do encouragement videos, the MMFYs, Make Monday Fear You. If you go to my page, you'll see a bunch of them. But mostly right now, I use social media just to show the behind the scenes and things that I do at this point. Because if I don't get a whole bunch of likes, I promise, no matter how many likes or I get or don't get, a bunch of people have viewed it. And that's the one thing about it. Not everybody's gonna like your work, but everybody's gonna see it. But a lot of people haven't seen it. And I love social media to an extent. Like, I agree with Keith so much right now. Like, it should not be a devastating thing. It should not feel devastating that you don't get so many likes, especially after all the hard work you put in. But at the end of the day, I'm not targeting everybody. I'm using social media to target my ideal client. Like, my ideal person, the person that needs my work, that appreciates my work, who will actually want my work up on their walls and not just on their phone. So that's the person I'm more worried about right now, reaching through social media. And as far as my work and everything goes, the website is always fresh. Everything else is good, and I'll post what I post. But social media, you're just gonna see my personality. You're gonna see all the behind the scenes. You're gonna see all the craziness. So it's a good way for people to see the person behind the lens. And once again, like we talked about earlier, it's all about connection. It's all about getting to know the person who's actually creating these things for you.
Them's all facts. Absolutely. As social media evolves, as social media is changing, we have to kind of look at it differently and how we use it as a tool differently at times. So I have a question from the audience. As a comic creator, what publisher do you use for indie work?
Well, I self-publish right now. Yeah, I don't use anyone. I use me. Before, I was with a company called Rosarian Publishing. But there are a lot of great indie publishers out there. You have Kingswood Comics, who is doing with David Crownson, who currently has Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, which is making a lot of noise right now. You have, I think he's with Massive Publishing. It's called Massive Publishing. But yeah, currently it's just me, and that just came from, just trying to take more of an ownership role in my IP and really just trying to keep more of an eye on my money and my revenue and what comes in. So yeah, currently it's just me. This is my first year self-publishing. Totally not against being with a publisher, it just has to be the right. It just has to be the right fit. You know.
Okay, I got you. So we were just talking about social media as far as marketing is concerned. We did get a comment saying that the algorithm is driven by ads. If you don't buy them, then they don't connect to your audience the same way. So yes, I mean, it is a lot more difficult to grow an organic audience than it used to be. It's still possible, but it is harder, unfortunately, than it used to be. So getting back to the question at hand, what are some of the most effective strategies you've used to promote and market your artwork? Was it just social media? Did you run ads as well? Did you use some other kind of marketing?
Well, for me personally, I don't use the ads. I did it. I just had a Kickstarter campaign that I did use them for. Can't really say it did a whole lot. Someone told me it takes a while for that stuff to even really get a rhythm, for the algorithm to get a rhythm to get your stuff out there like that. So it's just a lot of, I don't know, it's just so much information. You just don't know what the truth is through all that information. So I don't really have an answer to that. When I was doing my Kickstarter, I felt like, because everything's about engagement now, and if you're not engaging with people or posts, you're kind of invisible. So it really takes me, a person that's not really that active on social media socially. Like, I post a lot, but I don't do a lot of interacting, and mainly because when people say dumb stuff, I got to fight the urge not to tell them how dumb it sounds, which could lead to arguments, and it just puts you in a place where I don't really want to be. So I just kind of limit my interaction with people to just so I don't let myself get out of character. So I forgot, what was the question, man? I'm sorry. What strategies? Yeah. So the strategies I've always had has just been consistency. And that's all. I mean, that's really all I can do on my end without putting too much time and energy into it. So just always consistent work, always good work. That's really the best advice. I could probably use a good answer on that, myself.
Got you. Ron, you got any
I got a
ideas?
couple. Yeah, I got a
Okay.
couple. Once again, Keef is in my head, like some of the stuff. Like I resist the urge every day to just wonder, how do I really want to tell these people about themselves? Anyway, we all know that struggle. But now I do quite a few things. First of all, yes, I do. I use ads, but only for certain specials or certain things, because unfortunately, as much as I do create photographic art, and I love my photographic art, still got to pay the bills. So I do create ads that's targeted to my ideal client. But I do have a general audience reach for the most part. So it does bring in enough traffic just to get things started. But the number one way I really market is through my newsletter. I have a newsletter with a consistent group of people, both who signed up on my website and past clients, who I just reach out to every month and say, hey, how's everything going? Here's some recipes. Here's something. Oh, by the way, I'm running this special. Or by the way, I want to feature this portrait of this beautiful little boy or this amazing family, and things like that. Like I use once again, just using social media for connection, and I do use ads. But at the end of the day, as we touched on earlier, networking, word of mouth, those things still work to this day, one way or the other. Like, social media is crucial, and once again, no matter what you're doing to do it, just make sure you're targeting your ideal client, regardless. If you're just leaving everything too broad, then you're going to get people from all around, but they're not going to respect your work or your time into your work as you prefer. Not to mention the money that's going to take to get the kind of work that you deliver. So no matter what you use, whether it's social media, whether it's networking, whether it's word of mouth, whether it's if you're even still using newspaper and radio, God bless you. Regardless, just make sure you're targeting your ideal client regardless, and it's all gonna work out.
Awesome. Okay. Can you share your experience with taking your art to exhibitions or art fairs? What tips can you offer in that regard?
First thing I would say is know when you are going to an exhibition that is going to really showcase your work the proper way, and know the difference between going to pretty much decorate someone's party. You know, that's a lesson I had to learn as a young artist. I would do all of these artist markets and showcases, but I would get there and it would be like a party with art on the walls. No necessarily mention of the artists there that are standing by their work. It's just you've pretty much just decorated someone's party. And I did a few of those before I actually sat there and looked around, and I was like, hold up, like they haven't mentioned me or any of the other artists that are here. They haven't even acknowledged that it's an art show, you know, but the party is jamming, you know. So just really be able to tell the difference between that, like really research the type of event it is, look at their videos and just kind of get the vibe of it. A lot of those people that show up to those type of places aren't necessarily there to buy art. So just make sure when you do those type of events that there is a highlight and a focus on the artists that are there. And aside from that, I think it's just, I would say, know your, I guess it depends on the type of level you are, because know the artists that you are also showcasing with. I feel like when you've reached a certain caliber, you should only show with the type of artists that you feel like are your peers. Because if you don't, you're kind of lumping yourself in with someone that may not be on your skill level, which could in turn lump your price expectations in with that too. So always be aware of whenever you get a show offer or you ever want to submit or be a part of a show, just kind of look around and see who else is doing it, see who's on the roster, if you're able to do that. But it goes with just kind of researching the person throwing the event. And but as an emerging artist, I would say just do it all. Just do as much showcasing as you can, and you'll kind of figure it out on your own, like I did. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, great points. I mean, I hadn't really thought about, where I'm showing my art in terms of like how it would affect my pricing and all that. So that's a pretty cool perspective. You got anything to add to that, Ron?
Not really. You ain't got to switch on this one, friend. We can stay on the same screen for this. No, because I haven't done exhibitions in a long time, and I feel Keef on that because I'm always worried about who I'm being exhibited with, and does it line up with the quality of work that they're giving, whether it's higher, lower, in between, whatever the case may be. The one thing I did like is the one show I went to recently was the Fairfield Black Art Collective, when they had this amazing show in downtown Birmingham, and they actually did exactly what Keith was touching on. They highlighted the artists, they showcased the artists, they put the attention on the artists. It wasn't just a party. Mm-hmm. They actually put the attention on the artists and actually helped a lot of the artists get their pieces sold. And we're not talking like $25 at the flea market. We're talking like thousands, and the way it should be. Like, it was actually the value of their work. So
that's awesome. Yeah, do you got their information? I want to get in contact with these people.
Yes, I'll send it over to you once we get offline.
Okay, great. Thank you. Awesome. So let's see. What are your favorite tools, mediums, or software that you cannot live without in your creative process? Ron, I already
know. Let's just go and get it out the way. All right. Let's go and get it out the way. All right. We already know, even though there's some who go by Capture One and everything, and trust me, I love Capture One too. However, pretty much the entire Adobe suite at this point, especially thanks to AI. All hail my AI overlords. Anyway, basically, but yeah, at this point, Lightroom, Photoshop, the whole Illustrator, the whole 9 yards. I still use everything now, and now Premiere, since I'm having to create reels from every single thing I do. I was just trying to think, is there anything else that is there any other mediums I use off the top? I can't think.
You forgot something that's real important, by the way. I got 2 questions. One thing I know you forgot, but I ain't gonna say that until I ask you. What are you using Illustrator for?
What am I using Illustrator? I was doing a lot of drawing. I was using it for a lot of drawing versions of some of my black and white pieces, like from a while back.
Okay.
I have to dig it up and show it to you, friend, because I ain't worked on that stuff for so long. But I was using it for a lot of my black and white pieces.
Okay.
Adding some different details to those.
Okay. Now that you've answered that, let me tell you what you forgot.
What I forgot?
Your equipment, man. Like what you shooting?
I don't care about that equipment. That equipment get on my nerves. Like
the camera?
No, I shoot with a camera. No, I'm just kidding. We need to talk about Keef and his equipment. Like that's the medium right there because just for the app, I shoot with a camera. It's a nice camera. As a matter of fact, I've had people tell me that the reason why my photos are nice is because I shoot with a nice camera.
I hate it when they say that.
Apparently, that's all. Like I have no talent whatsoever. Right. I didn't work for 20 years. Like it's the camera. Like the camera actually has the personality. I'm just the dude holding it, like a ventriloquist. Like
that's like telling a chef, "Oh, look, you got a nice stove." That's how your food turn out so good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you get that stove, you'll have nice food too. That's pretty much. I know.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm one of the last surviving Niconians. Because right now Nikon, I love Nikon, but this mirrorless is a struggle bus. I may have to upgrade to that Z8 and see if I actually like it. And prayerfully, I'll still stick with them at this point. But if Canon, you need another ambassador of light, I can throw some work out. I ain't gonna. I have somebody get mad at me on this thing. But anyway.
I have an old Canon and I love Canon, but I did get a new mirrorless Fujifilm and
Fuji been killing it.
Yeah, but it's also a learning curve. Cause I've been shooting Canon for the last 20 years. So it's like
it's friend. Sometimes the only 2 constants in life are change and change. So
it's fact.
No idea. But let's talk about somebody who actually uses mediums the way mediums need to be used and tools. So, sir, what are the mediums and
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I just use right now, I'm using Procreate on my iPad. Before I was doing that, it would just be acrylic, pen and ink. But when COVID hit, and I didn't really have funds coming in. The art stores weren't open. I was like, man, let me try this digital art thing because I never really, as a traditional artist, I always kind of scoffed at it a little bit, like kind of like what you were saying is like people would be like, or even people say now, like, like people that do digital art is because you're doing it on a computer is why it looks so good. It's like no, you have to have talent behind that. Like this is just a tool. Just like AI, I hated it at first, but now I realize like anything, it's a tool and, it just depends on how you use it. But for me, Procreate, like in my house, like everything in this house could go, honestly, my iPad and my Procreate, I can't live without it, man. And ever since I started working digitally, I've been the most successful as far as selling my artwork as I've ever been. And I think it's just because the ease of production, the ease of having files ready to send to a printer, having everything crisp, having everything nice and vectored and ready to go. It's just a lot more, it's just a more streamlined professional experience. So I can't believe I've been working like so long without working digitally. So yeah, Procreate is everything. Anything I need. If I want to do oil, if I want to do pastel, anything, any medium that I need is just one click away. And it really looks real. So yeah, Procreate on the iPad is free if you got an iPad. I forget what year it has to be or what model it has to be, but if you have a recent iPad, you could download Procreate and it's free. And during COVID, I taught myself how to use it, and it like I said, it was a game changer. It's the difference between flipping a light switch for light or using a candle, you know?
That is dope. I didn't know
That
that you could
is.
get Procreate for free, and
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Best.
Okay,
It's the best, man. I swear by it.
I'm gonna see about that. I'm not a drawer.
I'm not
Maybe
even
I'll
gonna pretend like I can just pick that up and go to town with it. Because
You could. I mean, anybody could just really just mess around and probably make something kind of decent, you know?
Yeah, but there's decent and there's art, and you know, you create art.
True.
So that's just all there is to it.
As long as we all know that.
Even though it's funny how people sometimes will love the work that you feel like is just decent, they'll love it, but you're just like, that's not really my favorite.
That's true. That is true.
That's the one that resonates with people. So anytime I do conventions and stuff, I take a little bit of everything because you never know what people are gonna like. And usually the stuff that I don't think people are gonna like, I never bring enough of it, and that's the one they always want. So you never know.
Same experience here, man. Like I'll have like a show.
Like,
I haven't had a show in years, but like I have a show and I think, oh, this is gonna go right here. Like this is it right here. I just pour my whole heart and my soul and my spirit into this one right here. And people just be like, what about this one that I took 5 minutes to do? Like,
right.
Like, come on, man.
Get me started.
All right. So, how important is critique and feedback in your creative process, and how do you handle constructive criticism? Do you take constructive criticism, or are you just like, this my work and this what it is? So,
man, it's been so long since I've actually been critiqued or criticized negatively. The last time I got an actual critique was probably when I was in art school. And I think they're good. I always remember being in art school, and our teacher would always make the class. He would critique us, but then he would make students also stand up and critique the pieces, which I always kind of had an issue with because I'm like, you a student like me, you know, like what do you really, you know, it really boils down to opinions. So unless you're a teacher, like if it's not coming from a peer or above, like I don't really take it seriously. Like it has to be somebody who I feel like is better than me. But at the same time, for me, it's like, how are you? Who are you to say what I should have done better in this piece? Unless it's okay, you're using this medium. This is a better way you could use it, or you're using this perspective, but here's another way you could convey that same idea. So it has to be deeper than just you should have done this, or I don't like how it's a fine line for me. It's a fine line between constructive criticism and just someone giving their opinion, because opinion doesn't really mean anything to me, you know, as far as that doesn't mean anything. What I decided to create and what I decided to what I decided to show the world, I mean, that's really a personal choice. So who is anyone to say how you could have done that better? It has to just be for me, it has to be a technical aspect of it. Like what technically, how could I have manipulated this medium better, if anything? That's the only type of criticism I think I could really accept, you know. But I think it's vital for emerging artists because I remember being in high school, and every year we would go to a art critique at the local college, which here would be SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. They would have a portfolio day for the high school seniors. So our art teachers would take us there, and we'd stand in line, and they would go through all our artwork, and they would tell us what type of work we needed to produce if we wanted to get a scholarship to that school. So usually everybody comes in, they're like, our teachers would always be like, don't draw no comic books, don't have no Japanimation, they would call it back then. None of that stuff. They want to see realism, you know, black and gray shading, realism. So But the funny thing is, I took my daughter to enroll in SCAD a couple of years ago, and come to find out, they don't even do that anymore. They don't even do critiquing anymore because so many art programs have been cut. They can't rightfully exclude a kid from going to school when they haven't been taught the proper, proper art techniques to even get accepted. So now most art schools are just, if you got the money, you can come. You don't have to go through a review process. You can come to this school. If you can pay for it, you can come. So there's no review process anymore because of the cuts of the art funding. Isn't that crazy?
That is sad. I'm sorry.
That's wild.
Oh my goodness.
That's really sad.
So it's kind of like how they're talking about how music artists, there are no A&Rs anymore. You know what I'm saying? There is nobody that's really like shaping or molding these artists before they come out. It's the same. Like kids aren't getting that same discipline to really know what they need to do to present in front of museums or galleries or even art colleges. So it's just kind of like a free for all. If you got it, if you can get in there, you can do it. If you got the money, you got the followers, you can do it. It's not really about discipline or honing your craft or anything like that anymore. It's about instant gratification. It's about how fast can I get in here. That's all that really matters now. I mean, that's what all it appears to be right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate. Do you have anything to add to that, Ron?
I've always told this story. If you if you hang around me enough, I went to UAB in the late 90s. In the late 90s, UAB, before its visual arts programs evolved, they only taught like fine art photography. And they had two amazing professors there at the time, Barbara Morgan and Sonia Rigger. Barbara Morgan is the most caring, the most nurturing professor I've ever had in my entire life. Like, even if you were just screwing everything up, she would figure out a way to tell you gently you're screwing everything up, and she would completely encourage you and see where you were going with your photos and things like that, but also teach you how to see things in a different way. Sonia would literally rip you to shreds. You will leave out of there. I've seen students left out there crying half the time. Sonia will rip everything they've had to shreds completely. And she has ripped many of my work to shreds all the way through. I'm grateful for both of them. Constructive criticism is very crucial, no matter what the case may be. In the age of social media, we think those comments at the bottom of our posts counts as criticism. No, it don't. It counts as support. We think the negative comments that we get counts as criticism. No, that just somebody who had nothing else better to do. They just want to comment on your stuff. No, constructive criticism between our peers and between people who are on the levels that we're trying to aim for, those are the ones that's crucial. Someone posted something bad, saying a negative comment under any of my work will not faze me. But if Matthew Jordan Smith, Nikon ambassador, and literally one of my photography idols, literally ripped my complete portfolio in half, I'm gonna cry for 3 days. I'm just gonna let you know up front. Don't call me for like 3 days. I'm gonna come back, but I ain't going for 3 days. But I also know he also give me some honest feedback on a lot of my work, as with my peers. Like I have a group of peers that we get together and we go over each other's work and honestly show each other ways that we can improve. Because if we don't have that, we will never grow as artists. And the fact that they're not doing that right now, both for lack of funds and lack of resources. And honestly, these days, a lot of people are just afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. It comes with the territory. The only way you're going to grow is if you have another, how can I say this? Another respected set of eyes. That's not the word, but we're going to roll with it. Another respected set of eyes look at your work and honestly let you know that you're right there, but you got to work on this or you got to work on that, because it's our baby. our artwork and everything, those are our children. We're always gonna look at them as these perfect, wonderful little beings, not counting that one little black sheep, but we always gonna look at them as these perfect, wonderful little beings, and that can do no wrong. And sometimes we need somebody to step back and say, you're right there, but you got to work on this. So that's just me.
That's a good point. I've dealt with Sonia before, way back in the day. I never did take photography, but I think I tried to do I tried to get her to be on the board or something, or I don't know what I tried to do. She was like, you can't do that because you never went to school for photography. So I was like,
that is Sonia. Oh,
I'm like, ma'am.
I don't even know if you still around, but doggone it, Sonia, you ain't changed one bit.
Oh my God. I was like, man, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. But I'm not saying that constructive criticism isn't important. It is important, but also you're not gonna tell me I can't be a photographer because I've been doing it for a long time.
That part,
anyway.
Yeah. Right. That part.
Okay, so my next question. Do you think that art is subjective based off of who is seeing it, or do you see art as being objective based off of what the artist's intent is?
That's a weird question. No.
So
weird,
like if you have let me try to like explain it a little better in case.
Are you saying is beauty in the eye of the artist or the eye of the beholder? Like, is that?
It's like, let's say you drew something or you took a picture that was abstract, and when you took the picture or you drew a picture and it was kind of abstract, and when you did it, you had these emotions behind it, and this is the symbolism in it, and this is what you're trying to get across in this piece of work that you're putting out, right? Do you think that that's it? That's all? Like this what I say it is what it is? Or do you think it's more of like whoever sees it for whatever it is they think it is?
So I'll say this. Whenever I create something, okay, prime example. Sometimes I have pieces in the show and people like to ask, like, what's this about? What was the meaning behind this? And sometimes I don't like to say, because I'll say, tell me what you see. And they'll tell me what they get from it. And my response is usually, then that's what it means. You know what I'm saying? Because it really doesn't, I mean, now sometimes it does matter. Like if I have a piece that I have a specific message that I want to get across, I want people to know what it means, because sometimes I have like abstract imagery and stuff that may not make sense, and something that I want to get across, I will articulate it. But a lot of times, sometimes the art I make is just to look good. You know, it's not really a deeper meaning, but this is also the politics of selling your art. People love to have a story. So even if that particular piece may not have meant anything particular to me, if it means something to you, whatever you tell me you see from it, then that's what it is. That's what it was made to do, in my opinion. I like that piece of art was made to touch on those, that viewpoint for you. And who am I to tell you what you're seeing is wrong? You know what I'm saying? Even though it could be completely, and a lot of times it's completely wrong, but a lot of times I get some people, I was like, damn, that sounds kind of better than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm gonna roll with that. That's what it is. Sold. You know what I'm saying? So, so yeah, that's how I look at it.
To that, Ron? I'm sorry. You got anything to add to that, Ron?
Ooh, I don't think I can add too much to this one. on this round, this I think this is out of my wheelhouse, because you have to understand, and you ain't got to switch on this one. And some of y'all, my photographer friends, like feel me on this. You have to understand is that, like, depending on what we're shooting on a regular basis, Now, if you ask me what I'm creating for me, is, like I said, my moods, my emotions and everything, they change with it, but I can't really say what people see within it. depending on what kind of artwork I'm putting out, because I don't do that much abstract. But as far as my commercial work, that's the main thing about it. I'm not worried about what I see through it. I am worried about what they see through it, because my clients have got to appreciate this more than I do. Mm-hmm. My clients, ideal or not, they've got to appreciate the work I create more than I do on this. So whereas with real art, you no matter what they're feeling, even though you want them to feel enough to buy it, and truly appreciate it for what it is, you can still have your emotions tied to it while also seeing through their eyes what they're seeing. With us, with art in a hurry, which is pretty much what I call photography these days, is one of those things. Whereas I really want more of the client to appreciate what it is and the emotions and the beauty behind it, more than worry about what I see through it. Because 9 out of 10, what I'm seeing is that, man, why I shoot this at this time of day? Why is that one car in my background? Why is this? I'm looking at the flaws where they're looking at a perfect moment that they will never get back. So my subjective and other subjective is on two totally different levels.
Got it. Okay. So I don't know. Well, let me ask. This is probably going to apply more to Keith, but it might apply to you too, Rome.
I still want to hear.
How do you manage creative burnout or designer's block?
Man,
here we go.
Yeah, probably weed. If I can't, if I can't, if something's not flowing, you know what I'm saying, I gotta, I call it creative lubricant. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of gets things going smoothly. Weed and music and isolation, but at the same time, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it, and I'm not one to force anything, because if I force it, 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna like it. So, but sometimes you don't have the luxury to do that, especially if you're a working artist. You kind of got to work through that. So, whenever I'm feeling that way, which I'm not gonna lie, ever since I got this iPad and this Procreate, I can't even remember the last time I had creative's block, because anytime I need to reach out to Apple, like, hey, I need an endorsement, because I can't endorse them enough. But whenever I put that Apple Pencil to screen, I can't go wrong, man. Like, I cannot go wrong. So that's a blessing. But when those times weren't like that, I'll take a break. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just don't have anything to really say, and that's okay. Sometimes you need to live life a little bit. You need to you need to go through some stuff. Not go through some stuff, but sometimes you just need to take a break. So you just need to get a fresh perspective, a fresh eye, back away from it. Especially writers, like when I'm writing DayBlack, when I have writer's block, sometimes the stories come from art. Like, sometimes I'll draw, and then whatever the picture's telling me, I'm like, okay, this is the story, and I'll write from what I see, and that'll be a jumping point for me to get my writing groove back on. So that's probably those are the ways that I handle it. Weed, music, distance, and just still drawing. Work on something else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just do something completely different. Get a different, like, if you don't use watercolors, just get some paper and just mess around with some watercolor paints and just have fun with it. Just kind of let your brain just kind of disassociate with really trying to create something for a purpose, and you just doing it to just kind of, to just kind of get those juices flowing. So,
Yeah. Okay. Rome, you got anything to add to that?
Note to self: try weed.
Try weed, man. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Okay. The only reason I can't do weed is literally because my father-in-law has been smoking since he was 20. He's about 74 now. So we both can't be high in the house. Like, that's just the number one rule.
I beg to differ.
My wife recovering from a knee injury. My mother-in-law, She's elderly. Me and him can't both be high at the same time. So, and since he's high all the time, I'm just going to figure something else out.
But I feel you. And I have a 5-year-old, so I get that. Like when I smoke, it's like I have designated times, usually when everybody's asleep, around 11, 12 o'clock, when I ain't got no other responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? But during the day, nah, I do that when the day is over with, because you never know what's gonna happen. You know,
Exactly.
the kids threw up in school. I can't be walking up into school with I'm like, where's my baby at? Like,
Those some shades on it,
you got to be on point.
Eye drops.
Yeah, you got to be on point. So that's after hours activity. But I work the best at night, like midnight, like towards the night hours. That's when I'm just like all day. Might do nothing. When that sun goes down, I don't know what it is, but it just, when everybody goes to sleep in my house, I be up. I was like, man, that's like, get the best ideas, man.
Mm-hmm.
I completely feel you on that.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron?
That sounds familiar. The Artist's Way.
Yeah, I'm about to say I think I've heard of it, but I never,
It's a workbook. She unblocks, like that's her thing. She unblocks artists. And it's like a 12-week program. And you hear a lot of people say it changes their life. I'm like on week 9 and I haven't read it since. Now I've been continuing with the advice, like as far as the journaling is concerned, kind of falling off on the artist date. So it's like you take yourself out on an artist date just by yourself and just do something artistic. That kind of reminds me of what you were saying, Keith, where you just like, if you normally do this, try doing that, try something different to kind of like get your juices flowing. So I think it's a great book. You have to be committed to it. I'm not gonna not finish it. I just had to take a break because it was like, write down everything you spend, make a budget. I was like,
and this is to unblock creative. This is to unblock creative block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. It's like a whole process. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, just check it out. So, all right, next it is, what role does collaboration play in your artistic practice?
Man, so I go, okay, yeah. Well, for me, not a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty much a one-man machine as far as that goes. With DayBlack, with my book, I write and I draw it myself. And that really came from, because when I first became serious about the book, I never really considered myself to be a writer. So I always knew I was an artist. I knew I wanted to draw, but I wanted to collaborate with a writer to do it. But initially, I met with like 3 or 4 different writers who I really liked. And I loved their work, but when it came down to translating my ideas and my visions, we could never, it didn't gel. Mm-hmm. And that was a valuable lesson for me, because it made me write myself. It made me brush off those cobwebs of my English teachers. I was like, you're a great writer, and, you write really well. I was like, all right, cool, but I'm drawing, But it made me really focus on that, especially when I finally got my book published. Like the first year it was out, I won a writer award. You know what I'm saying? So that really just kind of was a light bulb. Like, okay, I need to nurture this writing as much as I do the art. And if I had collaborated, who knows? It may have been a different situation. It may have been better. It may have been worse. Also, as far as on the art side, I've also learned that sometimes when you can admire an artist, like I had, it's just like, say Goldie, for instance, okay? Goldie was supposed to, not even Goldie, it's another artist. I wanted them to do, to illustrate this next story that I'm writing. Mm-hmm. And I was going to illustrate it, they were going to color it. And I met this guy on social media who was an amazing colorist for his own work. But when he did some pages for me, it just did not work out. It just wasn't. And I was like, and it really was like, but I love his work. But when he's doing it on mine, it's like, he's a completely different artist. It's like, I was like, I want you to do what you did here and do it on here. But I learned that it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? If I was an artist in the same position, I may be the same way. Like, your outlines are not what I'm used to. So I'm going to try. So it was a thing. So for me, it makes me even think twice about even wanting to reach out to artists to collaborate, because it's like, I love your work, I respect it so much. I would hate to have to tell you that I don't like it for what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather just not even do it. I'd rather just like, you know what? I wasn't meant to collaborate. But I feel like, but I don't want to give up on that, because I feel like if given the right collaboration, it could be something incredible. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's just finding a good dance partner. You know, you guys kind of have to be in sync. So it's something that I definitely still want to, try to do, but I'm not really heavily reliant on it. You know, I never really have been, but I love group projects. Like, I love working on murals with other artists. I love doing public artwork with other artists. Like, I love collaborating. And that's the thing. I'm an introvert unless I'm around other people that have the same interests as me. Then I become an extrovert. When I'm around other artists, when I'm around other people that are into the same shit that I'm into, I'm not an introvert at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I like to collaborate. I haven't had a lot of success with it, but I'm definitely open with it. Just got to be the right person. Got to be that right dance partner.
I feel you. Hey, Rome, you got anything to add to that about collaboration?
First of all, I'm with you when you were talking about. I was with him when you were talking about. You come alive when you're around people that share the same passion as you, because you're not seen as the weirdo, the weirdo on the outside. You're actually just one of the crew. Mm-hmm. But collaboration is actually very crucial to me, and it actually goes back to our last topic when we were talking about burnout, because there have been plenty of times that I, especially shooting the same mundane, ordinary, cookie cutter photos day in and day out, it will literally drain every bit of your creativity. But we ain't gonna go too deep into that. But that's why, like, case in point, a couple of weeks ago, I got involved in a shootout sponsored by Stanley Parrish. And it was so nice to be around creatives and different photographers and different models and makeup artists and wardrobe stylists. It was just fun just to be around my peers, honestly. Mm-hmm. And just be able to get those juices recharged. Like, I cannot stress how necessary it is that collaborations, especially with the right people, with the right like-minded people, will definitely get your juices recharged in more ways than one. And it also leads to other different little passion projects. Like, working with one collaboration a few years ago is what started a lot of my different series and things you'll see on my other pages. And it's just honestly so crucial, especially like I said, with people who share the same passion.
Absolutely. Dope. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is good for both of you. What advice would you give your younger self about pursuing a career in art?
Don't. No, I'm just kidding. Boy, you better go back to medical school. Boy, what the hell you doing? Put that camera down. Go pick up a medical book. Why is you in physics class? You're supposed to be in anatomy. Will you please take your butt to anatomy class? Anyway, I'm sorry. Past scars. Anyway, no. What I would honestly tell my younger self is very simple and very straight to the point. Don't be distracted. My younger self was distracted. And it was distracted in many areas, but the number one distraction was I was trying to be like somebody else instead of being myself. And even the person I was trying to be like was telling me to just be yourself. And I just kept thinking that myself wasn't good enough. So if I had any advice to my younger self, it would literally be stop being distracted, stop trying to be like the rest, and you are good enough.
That's what I'm talking about, Rome. That is absolutely correct, because you don't.
Okay. Yeah. This might sound messed up or come off the wrong way, but I would tell my younger self to keep doing what you're doing. I would tell him to, bro, just stay the course. Keep believing in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Keep practicing, keep entering contests, just keep creating. I wouldn't change a thing. Like I'm really happy with where I'm at. I'm really happy with my artistic journey. I've always been surrounded by people that supported me, like my family, my friends. Like, you know, the people always say, you know, like people always told me I'd never make it, or I got it out the mud, and like everybody always doubted me. I was fortunate enough to never. I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always had, everybody was always in my corner that I knew of. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my art journey has been a really great one. One that I'm very proud of. One that has been very fulfilling to me. So yeah, I tell that young man, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. One thing I would say, okay, I'll say this. Because when I went to art school, I dropped all my academic classes, like up until my senior year. So art school, they give you like a course load of art classes, but they also give you science, math, and all this shit, art history. I dropped all that stuff. Every year I would drop it until my senior year. I had nothing but academic classes. And that's when I left school. I was like, you know what? I think I'm done here. I think I learned everything I need to know. And I quit my senior year. And that messed up just because I didn't want to take any academic classes. So so I take that back. If I could tell my younger self anything, I would tell him, bro, just take your classes so you can have a degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how much that degree would have even played a difference, because as soon as I got back to Atlanta, I started tattooing that same year. So, and I never looked back. So, but just to say I went through 4 years, I would have had something to show for it. I would have said, bro, just take those classes, you know.
I feel you, man. I got 2 degrees, and I don't know if it did me any good. So
you know, who's to say, but you know.
All right, Rome, you got anything you want to share?
I touched on mine earlier. And I feel you on too. I just want half a degree at this point. I'll take an associate's. I'll take a certificate of attendance at this point. I don't care at all at this point. But yeah, it was just, the whole thing was, when I was younger, I was real distracted and just trying to keep up with folks who can barely keep up with themselves.
Yeah.
And also, if there was one other thing I tell myself back then, I tell now, get out of Birmingham. And it's not because Birmingham is whatever. We're not doing that. It's just, honestly, I love my home. I just also want to see the world more, and to expand both my creativity and my view on photography. Like, there's just so many things that a lot of things I haven't done because I'm so used to my environment. But honestly, I would love to just get further away from it, just to grow a little bit more. And that's the one thing I wish I did more when I was younger. Now, if I go now, I gotta make sure the missus can come with me. I gotta make sure we're in a good hotel and stuff. I'm gonna have to help them behind the scenes. I ain't got time for all that. But but I'm just saying, that's pretty much that's it for me.
Okay, let's see. I've got 2 more questions.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Here we go. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of being a full-time artist?
It beats flipping burgers. It beats working in any kind of service industry, which I've done before. You know, for me, it's really fulfilling because a lot of the times I'm always hunched over my iPad drawing. So to my family, when I'm at home, it just looks like I'm drawing because I love to draw. So for them, it's like, is he drawing or is he working? Is he drawing? Is he working? So it's just nice for when I get paid that they're like, oh, okay, you weren't just over there drawing, you were actually working. So for me, it's fulfilling that what seems like leisure to everybody else is really my job. And in a way, it is leisurely because I still have the luxury of supporting myself and my family through art, which is the goal. You know, that is everybody's goal. Any artist's goal. That's the ultimate goal, is to be able to support yourself and your family through art. Just because so many people think you can't do that, or it's supposedly such a rarity to be able to do that. So when it happens, you know, it's a big deal. So yeah, just the fact that I'm a full-time artist, this is all I do. This is all I've ever done. My whole life is art. I've never, anytime I've worked like a job that wasn't in art, I was in college, and I was like, before I started tattooing. But once I started tattooing, I've never had any other type of job, you know. And I've been blessed enough to say that. And tattooing was something that allowed me that, because technically I was still making art. I was making a living doing it, and it still gave me I'm still creating on a daily basis. You know, a lot of people do art and they don't do it for a while, so they kind of lose it, you know, or they lose the passion to do it. But tattooing kept me in that space constantly, people coming in with new ideas that I had to realize, and just, it always kept that muscle going. So I'm grateful for that. And it poured over into my fine art, into my, to that world. So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put you on, Rome, but I had just one other question after this, but I got one more because of something Keith said. So, all right, move that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask him one more question. Okay.
No, I'm asking both of y'all this question. So okay. Go ahead.
What's the most rewarding aspect of being a full-time artist? My schedule. Even though it can be hectic at sometimes, even though it feels like I'm a slave to my schedule at times, the truth of the matter is I'm free to literally do whatever I want. If I have the money to do it, if I want to take a whole month off and not shoot one doggone thing, I have the option. If I need to go and take a trip or go on a trip somewhere and do some work, I have the option. That's the one thing I am grateful for out of all of it, because the one thing that was stifling me from a 9 to 5 was whenever they open, whenever they close, was the fact that I just could not be able to take certain jobs when I wanted to, how I wanted to. And especially now with having to help take care of 2 elderly parents, I'm very grateful for the fact that my schedule allows me to do it. Now, granted, there are some days we can go to Ruth Chris. There's some days we gotta go to Oodles and Noodles. Either way, I am still grateful that my work and my art has sustained my family going on now about 11 years.
That's
I'm very grateful.
That's dope. Okay, so this is my next question. So you're both full-time artists, and Keith, you said that you did tattoo, which is still art, but it's not where you ended up, you know? So you started at one place, you ended up in another place. What advice would you give to people who are artists and maybe they don't have enough money to work full-time as an artist the way that they would like to? Like, what other type of jobs would you recommend them looking into? Would you say just like hold off until you can do exactly what you want to do? Would you say get something adjacent to it and then work into what you want? Like, what would you guys say is a good approach for that?
I think you should work wherever you can if you don't have any money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do, you know, yeah, do what you got to do until you're in a place where you can do that, or where you can make money full-time off of work. Use that money to invest in your craft. Use that little check you get to get you some materials. You know what I'm saying? You got to try to sustain that as much as you can without, you know, taking away from your true responsibilities. You know, I would never down anybody for like having to work anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You do what you got to do. You know, yeah. Hey, do what you got to do, man. Work. But then again, if you want to stay in the art field, volunteer at an art camp, you know what I'm saying, in the summer, if you want, or not volunteer, but try to be a counselor at an art camp, work for these, like for instance, we have I came up in a system here, Fulton County Arts Council. When I was a kid, they had this program called Art at Work, where they would get like all the art students from middle schools or high schools, and we would come together in the summer and we would paint on all of this old refurbished furniture, and they would sell it. They would pay us a wage to paint over these furnitures, and they would give them to like senior citizens' houses and stuff like that. So I came up in this community center, so I was able to make money. So basically, like I said, work anywhere you can, preferably. If you got to get a job, hey, get it at Michael's or get it at an art supply store. Just try to keep that art in your peripheral, not too far in the peripheral, but just try to, if that's what you want to do. If you're serious, if you're serious, just, I don't know, work, man, work. Buy them works, you can pay for them brushes, and that's those materials, Have no shame, do what you got to do. And look at it like this. Whenever you feel like you're doing something demeaning or doing something below what you feel like you should be doing, just look at it as your chapter to your story. Like anytime I ever had to do something, I'm like, all right, this is going to be good in my story. Like this little shit I'm going through right now, this is going to be very entertaining when they write my life story. So I'm just making the lore richer. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
That's a great way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking that for myself.
Yeah, this is my chapter. This is the chapter I'm in right now. This is it. Next chapter is going to be crazy,
Yeah.
I love it.
You got anything to add, Ron?
What we talking about? Like, okay, I'm just speaking to just photographers right now. To y'all photographers, look at me. Look here. Mm-hmm. Keep your day job. Keep your doggone day job. I don't care what it is. Keep your doggone day job. Equipment is expensive. They done went from $500 cameras to $4,000. Look, keep your day job. I promise you it'll be okay. There'll be people to shoot on the weekends. There'll be people to shoot at night. I promise you're going to find some clients. But just please keep your day job. Okay, back to the regular schedule program. But
thanks.
Because trust, I love it. Now you said what's the benefits of being a full-time artist? Mm-hmm. See, don't go to the other question. Right. Of being a full-time. Let me do the blinks to make sure you understand the disadvantages of being a full-time.
Nobody told you to blink twice if you're under duress.
I'm blinking about 82 times right now. I've been under duress all day. That's the reason why I was late, because I was under duress earlier. So look, let me tell you. But and thankfully we do, and thankfully thanks to the pandemic, which is one of the few things I will ever say thanks to the pandemic, we do have options for flexible work, whether it's food delivery, whether it's grocery delivery, where is Uber driving, where it's so many different things that we do have options for flexible schedules. They have opened up ways for people to be able to work from home. Granted, half the time you're selling something that you probably would never sell in your life, but whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, like you said, it will be a beautiful part of your story. Your story will sound way more epic about all the things. If you don't believe me, go to the Kangaroo, which used to be the Shopper Snack across from Raz Hall at UAB. And I think my initials are still carved underneath the doggone counter if they ain't tore the counter down and built a new counter. I promise you, those late nights, half sleep at the Shopper Snack at Raz Hall across from UAB, now a Kangaroo or a Circle K or something else,
whatever it
literally was what purchased one of my first main cameras. So at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it.
See, you a good one. I got mine off of credit, and that's the first time I destroyed my credit.
Girl, I burned through my credit. That's another subject for another day. Anyway.
But it's okay.
Also, please work on your credit right now. Like whoever's looking at me right now, please work on your credit.
Oh, if I could tell my younger self, that would be it. That would be it right there. Yeah. That's it. That's
you do not need a Discover card. You do not need a Victoria's
not yet, anyway.
Trying to be a boudoir photographer at 19. No, that's not how this works. Please just do not do. I'm sorry. I'm reaching back once again. Childless heart. Anyway.
Okay, all right. So I got one last question for y'all. How do people check out your work, stay in touch with you, and touch again? I know both of you have kind of said a little bit about your project. Well, you said a lot, but touch on your upcoming projects one more time so people can be looking out for you again, okay?
Okay, you can find me and my comic book at dayblackcomic.com. Social media, Keef Cross Art on Instagram. Pretty much Keef Cross across the board. Upcoming, I have the newest issue of DayBlack. DayBlack Reparations will be coming out in December, fresh off of the Kickstarter campaign. Thank you for everybody that contributed. And of course, I'll be in LA December 1st through 3rd for the LA Comic Con with Tyra Banks and our new graphic novel, Dream and Smize. And yeah, that's what I got coming up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. And don't go yet. Rome, what you got?
Well, first of all, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Jessica, for even inviting me over here. You can find me pretty much across the board at Jerome Smedley on all social media, the way it's spelled on here, all one word. Also at djeromesmedley.com for everything me, whether it's where you want to book photography or anything else. My other brands, they're listed on my website. They're listed both on my website and my social media as well. Miele Glamour, MIELE Glamour. That's our Glamour and Boudoir division and our model portfolio division. And then, of course, Smedley Media, which is our events and wedding division. But everything you can find will be located on djeromesmedley.com. And we do have a couple of art projects coming up, and we're supposed to be throwing a show later on this month. If everything goes according to plan, I'll keep everyone posted on that. But I just want to say thank you all, and please make sure you're following WAR. We are artists. Please make sure you support this amazing organization.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody, both of y'all, for showing up and showing out. Man, I really appreciate your perspective, and I'm sure that you've helped a lot of artists. Check us out on the replay if you didn't see us the first time, and we'll definitely be sharing more clips and stuff on Instagram and Facebook. So definitely stay tuned and check out these amazing artists' work as soon as you get a chance. And I hope y'all have a fantastic weekend. And thanks again, you guys. Have a great day and peace out.